So I just made a video and I forgot that I wanted to make this video also. And this video, as it's titled, is To My Trolls. So this is who the people I'm speaking to. I didn't even know I had trolls until recently. It's kind of funny to me. I was on YouTube or one of my other social sites, and I started noticing, I was getting more views than I normally get. I don't get a lot of views, but, this particular video, I had over 100 views, which is rare for me. And I noticed I started getting people posting comments on my videos. And it's funny with, the video, the last one I read, the comment, the profile name was called No Name. There was no picture. So I'm not saying it was no name. That was their name on their own profile, was quote unquote no name. Okay? And there was no picture, no followers, no nothing, But this is, people create these profiles because they're scared to be themselves, and which shows you that they don't believe what they're saying. They don't have confidence in what they're saying. If you have confidence in what you're saying, you have no problem attaching your picture to it. Also, I don't read comments because I can't see. I don't know how many times I got to say that this year, or even last year. I've said it a lot. I lost my eyesight. I had a stroke. So this is why I make the videos and don't type as much as I used to, because it's hard for me to read the small print. I can read short comments. I can read those. But if it's long paragraphs and paragraphs all bunched together, I'm not reading it. It's frustrating. It's a waste of my time. So it was kind of funny to me. That this one notification I got, it caught my eye, and I was able to see some of the beginning of the comment based, when the push notification popped up. And that's what caught my attention. I very rarely, if at all, read comments. I don't care. Especially if you're a no name or it's a fake profile and all of that kind of stuff. I don't care what y'all got to say. Okay. Now, if you want to have an intelligent conversation, take your time, post a video so I can see who it is that's talking to me, like we would do in person. So let me see who you are, and let me hear your tone and your context, because 70% of communication is nonverbal, okay? So I want to be able to hear your context, so I don't misunderstand what's being said. Okay, but this particular comment was talking about, I don't even know where he was going. This is the video that I was talking about Kung Fu, the TV show, and how the producers of that show portrayed white privilege in their own TV show. So this is white people portraying white privilege, which is ironic today. It's very ironic. See, they were bold when the Kung Fu was made during the frontier times. And when this TV show came out, some of these things, the bigotry and the prejudice was more acceptable in mainstream. Okay? So they felt very comfortable just putting it out there. Okay, so you don't see that in today's world, but you saw that then, which was very interesting to me when I went back and started watching Kung Fu, the TV show. So that's what I was talking about. So some kind of way in this comment, I only read maybe the first paragraph. If it's one big paragraph, but if I were to break it up like it should have been broken up into paragraphs, I read the first paragraph, and some kind of way the guy, I'm assuming it's a guy, was making a comment about the Atlantic slave trade. What the hell does that have to do with what I was talking about in the video? Nothing. It had nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it. And yes, he was correct. And when I think he was trying to make the point, Africans sold slaves and sold the blacks into slaves. That's true. I don't dispute that. I never claimed to be African or African American. I'm not African. I'm an Israelite. So what the fuck are you talking about? Know your history. Know your history. There were Israelites in Africa living amongst the Africans. Okay? Of course. So see, white people, you group us all together. Okay? You see black and you think we're all the same. Okay? That's what y'all think. But Africa, the African tribes came from Ham. Okay? The Israelites came from Jacob. So what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And when we had to leave out of when we had to flee Jerusalem, okay, because that's where the Israelites were. When we were instructed to flee Jerusalem because the Romans were coming in. This is prophesied in the Bible. So again, what are you talking about? Know your history. So when we left out of Jerusalem, we went into Africa. And the Bible even tells us and instructs the Israelites not to mix with the tribes of Africa. But because we broke the laws, we broke the commandments, the Africans we were punished. The Africans, the Arabs, the Europeans, they rounded up the Israelites and sold us into slavery, which is talked about in the Bible and brings us into what is now the United States of America, and which is the Dominican Republic, which is Puerto Rico, and which is Cuba, and which was the Mayans and the Incans, and all of these people were all Israelites. So what the fuck are you talking about? Know your history. But that's them perpetrating or that myth of black on black crime. And this has been going on. This is what they've been doing for thousands of years, trying to push that ideology. That's been going on. So that's why I think this is where the guy was going. I don't know because I didn't keep reading, but this is where he's going with what he's trying to say. He's trying to say, well, you Africans, y'all did it to each other. No, they did it to us because we were not African. We all had dark skin, but this is why black people, when we look at an African, we can tell they're an African just by looking at them. Y'all can't. We can. We can. It's similar to the way Chinese people can look at Japanese people and immediately know they Japanese. Okay? It's the same thing. It's the same concept. Yes, we all had dark skin. Guess what? The people in the Bible had dark skin. That's what the prophets. I just posted a picture that was found in 12th century Germany on a stained glass window. It's still hanging up. That window is still in the Augsburg Cathedral in Germany of King David. What was he? He was a black man. He was an Israelite. Okay? He wasn't African. He was an Israelite. He was black. So stop with that nonsense. And I got some of you brothers with the Moors stuff. They called us Moors just like they call everybody African American in this country today. Everybody that's black in this country, no matter where they're from, whether they're from Africa or not, or they're directly from Africa, or they're descendants of slaves. We're all grouped together. Even they just throw us together, African. That's what they do. That's what they were doing back then. That's what they called the Moors. Different groups of people were called Moors because they had dark skin. Know your history. Know what you're talking about. This has been talked about. I don't even understand, but we can have this conversation too if we want to go into biblical history. We can do that too. We can talk history, but know what you're talking about. Do your research before you come argue with me. That's all I'm saying. I don't argue with trolls, honestly. I don't, because most of the time they're ignorant and they have very little intelligent or historical information. They just spewing out beliefs and myths and stuff that they just heard and regurgitating. Okay? I've been having these arguments all my life. I didn't just discover this stuff on Facebook 10 years ago. Some of you wasn't even on Facebook 10 years ago when I was talking about it. I've been talking about stuff like this on Facebook for over 10 years, just on Facebook. We can go back to MySpace. We can go back to GeoCities in the 90s. So I know what I'm talking about. I've had these conversations before. Most of what y'all saying, these arguments that you guys want to have, were debunked a long time ago. But because you don't know what you're talking about, you don't even know it was debunked. And that's what happens, especially on the right, the right wing, the alt-right. Y'all get pieces and little bits and pieces of old information that's already been debunked and proven wrong. We see this every day with the politicians. We just saw Barr bringing up some shit that had already been proven incorrect by his own Department of Justice. But now he wants to reinvestigate it because they refuse to listen to intelligence. His own intelligence department has already debunked what he said. And he gets his dumb ass right up on TV. Oh, yeah, I think they were spying, even though all the experts have already debunked it. Republican, Democrat, and otherwise, the experts, career experts, not career politicians, career experts have already debunked the bullshit, but he's still repeating it. And that's the same thing I hear from you trolls. I didn't even, again, like I said, I didn't even know I was worthy of having trolls. I didn't think my opinion mattered to these people. I never go on right-wing sites and alt-right sites and argue with people. Sometimes I get curious to see how stupid they are. And it's funny to me. Sometimes I watch Fox News to see the stupidity, and it's humorous and it's entertaining to me from a comical standpoint. Okay? But I don't argue with people. I'm not sending emails to the Fox News host and all of that shit because I know they're stupid. I don't argue with stupid people. We can have an intelligent conversation, and if you want to bring facts, we can bring facts. Okay? But I'm not going to argue with stupid people. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. Been there, done that long time ago. Not going to do it. So if you don't agree with what I'm saying, then that's fine. If you want to have an intelligent conversation, we can do that. But all of the long-ass comments and I don't know if you're trying to create clickbait or what have you, I'm not interested in it. I don't care. But I'm flattered that these people are following me. Because maybe some of what I'm saying to them is getting through to them. Maybe some of it. And it's just amazing to me. You know, these people have been dumb and stupid all their life. They know they were stupid when they was in school. They wasn't getting A's and B's. They wasn't. Most of them, a lot of them probably never went to college. And they went to a college, if they did, they went to a college that already supported what they already believed in. They didn't go to college wanting to learn something and then formulate an opinion. They already had their opinions, and they found a school and professors who could support what they already believed. There's some dumbass professors there. It's dumb. So, again, it's the same thing. It's the same thing with religion. People believe what they want to believe and then want to do what they want to do. And they find a religion that allows them to do what they already want to do. Okay? I don't have a religion. I believe in the word of God. That's what Israelites is not a religion. We are people. We are a nation. We believe in the word of God. What God actually said as written. So that's why if you ever see the brothers, they on the corners or whatever, and they all over the place. They all over the world. But in this country, a lot of times you'll see them out on Saturdays, and they wearing the purple and gold with the fringes. You'll see them. And they always, if they answer your question by preaching, by reading, now they're not preaching, they're reading from the word of God, from the Bible. Okay? And that's why you see people arguing with them. And I post some of their videos sometimes. You'll see people arguing with the brothers. And they can't even argue because they don't know the Bible. Oh, they're going by what they believe or what they think they heard. And then you ask an intelligent question. Hey, let's talk about what you believe. Tell me what you believe, what scripture you talking about, and we'll discuss it. I don't know, and they get mad and they walk off. It's always like that. It's like that in real life. You either believe the Bible or you don't. That's it. That's the instructions. The Bible wasn't written for everybody. The Bible was written for the Israelites. It says that time and time again in the Bible. But you're not going to hear that in church. You're not going to hear that in Sunday school. And the Bible explains why that is too. So you believe what you want to believe. You're going to have to answer for it. You want the truth, you can go talk to the Israelites. They'll give it to you. You don't want the truth, then whatever. It's simple as that. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to argue with foolishness. I'll teach you. To the best of my ability, I'll teach you. There are brothers out here that's way better than and knowledgeable than me. And if I don't know the answer, I'll get you to them. But hey, I'm not going to argue with you. Nah, I'm not going to argue with you about history. History is already written. It's already defined. It's not debatable. We got people trying to debate things that's already in existence. It's signs of it all over the world. It's there. And the prophecies have all come true so far. They all have happened. To the point in time where they were supposed to happen. There's still some to come, but they have all happened. So you believe what you want to believe. I'm not trying to save nobody who don't want to be saved. That's between you and your God or whoever you believe in. But it's sad. It's sad what y'all think. Some of y'all think. And you don't even have it worked out in your mind. Y'all nitpick, pick and choose and cherry pick little pieces of this and little pieces of that and try to mash it up all together so it makes sense for the way you want to live your life. There's rules out here. But y'all don't want to follow the rules. You want to nitpick and go by whatever makes you comfortable. That's not the way it was designed. Same thing with politics. You see that. The politicians, they want to follow certain things, but not other things. But yet they say, oh, we believe in the Constitution. Well, either you believe in all of it or none of it. You can't believe in pieces of it. I've been saying this over and over again to y'all. Which is why, and again, I get, oh, you're a liberal and no, I'm not a liberal. Not at all. At best, if you want to put a overall political ideology to me, it would be a centrist. But I'm not even, I don't even subscribe to that. I'm not a progressive, I'm not a liberal, I'm not a centrist. It depends on the political issue. Some things I'm conservative on, some things I'm liberal on. Most things I'm centrist. I have a centrist ideology. Which is why I don't believe, I'm not against the Second Amendment. See, you got some people, they want to support the First Amendment and then go against the Second Amendment. That doesn't make sense to me. So, in the way I look at things, from a black people's standpoint, the Second Amendment, we've never taken advantage of it. So why would I be for controlling guns or further regulating guns? Because we've never had them to be regulated. It makes no sense. So no, I think the problem that we have, I think we do have a gun problem in this country. And the problem is you got all of the guns in a small group of people. That's the problem. And that group of people have a mental health issue. That's always been part of their culture. Mental health. Stealing and killing. That's what they've done. And rewriting history. That's what they've done. Throughout history. So why are we surprised when some little crazy little white boy decides he wants to blow up the school or shoot up a bunch of people in school? They've always done stuff like that. That's that group of people. So when you pull up pictures of all of the mass shooters, it's going to paint a certain picture. It's going to paint a certain picture. A certain age group, a certain demographic. It's going to paint that. It's a mental health issue with that group of people. Deal with that shit. Stop trying to take guns away from everybody because you got a small group of people that's doing crazy stuff. Deal with that. And the way policing works in this country, we get to this issue and we want to treat it differently. So anytime it becomes a white issue, they always want to treat it differently than they treat everybody else. So same thing with the opioid crisis, because that's affecting predominantly white people. Now it's a mental health issue. Now we need to get people help. But when we had drugs in the black communities and brown communities, we were putting people in prison. Okay? So now it's affecting them. Now they want to change the rules. Same thing with gun control. It's the same thing. So I guarantee if it was a whole bunch of, when you talk about police brutality, if police brutality was affecting white kids the way it's affecting black kids, I guarantee it would be handled differently. We'd be having a whole different conversation. But because it's affecting black and brown kids predominantly, I'm not saying only, because I just watched a video last night. A white boy in Utah was shot by the police, and he didn't even have a gun. Okay? But he kind of had a hip-hop style to him, so I don't really know if that had anything to do with it. I think it may have. But he was basically a white boy who dressed black and acted black. And they shot him in Utah and didn't find a gun on him. So it happens to them too on a small scale, and a lot of you probably didn't even know about that story. But it does. I'm not one of those black people just running around, oh, it's only happening to black kids. Predominantly, it's happening to black kids. Predominantly. But it does affect white kids too. See, I could be real about it. But because it's not enough white kids being shot, and it's not more white kids than black kids getting shot, it's not really, they don't care about it. This is the history of Western civilization. They've been doing the same nonsense since Rome. Know your history. They did it in Rome, they did it in Europe, they're doing it here in America. That's Western civilization. Know your history. But if you, again, going back to my trolls, because I don't even know why I'm preaching to y'all. Know your history. You want to talk to me, make a video, show your name. We can have a private conversation. We don't even have to have it publicly. We can add it. And I did this. I was in the centrist group last year. And it was people, we had different agreements. And I got tired of typing. I said, hey, let's do a video conference with each other. And let's have a conversation. Nobody took me up on the offer. None of these people that were supposed to be so smart and so educated and had a different point of view, none of them took me up on my offer. But they had the same amount of time, more time, to type out these long paragraphs and nonsense. And I remember one of the arguments, the guy, he got offended because I told him what he said was idiotic and not based on history. In some kind of way, I'm offending him, or I was insulting him personally. No, I didn't insult you. I'm insulting what you're saying. We were talking about police in the United States having their history is based in the slave patrols. Okay? And this guy wanted to skip over all of the 400 years of American history and go back to Babylon or Syria, some shit. I don't remember what it was, but we're talking about American history and police brutality. There's enough to go on here in this country. It's a well-documented fact that the police force, the police fraternities, they all have their roots in the slave patrol. That goes back to the colonies. That's even before it's older than the Constitution. We're going back to the colonies, to the 1600s, when the slave patrols were created. Okay? This isn't Van saying this. This is history saying this. History says this. There's books on this. Not written by black people. White people have written books on this topic for years. But because they don't know the history and they just learning a little stuff and want to regurgitate it to me, now they come across somebody who knows what they're talking about. We saw that. We saw that with the guy with the Treasury Secretary when Maxine Waters got in his ass. We saw that then. He never ran into black intelligence before, so he was unprepared. He didn't know how to deal with it. And Maxine Waters was just eating his ass up. And she was so polite. She was so polite and so intelligent. I love that woman. And I know y'all trolls hate her because of that reason. You don't even know why you don't even understand why you hate her. Because you hate black intelligence. And you hate when somebody beats you at your own game. That's why a lot of y'all got problems with the Chinese, because the Chinese is beating America at its own game. The Chinese didn't make these rules up. The Americans did. The white people did. The Europeans did. The Chinese just say, you know what? We're going to play the game better than they play it. And that's why y'all hate the Chinese. But then you go into Walmart and everything you buy is made in China. Ain't that funny? Ain't that funny how that works? They always say what you hate, your kids will bring home. So all y'all people hating Chinese people, you bringing their shit home every time you go to Walmart. And just about every time you buy something on Wish.com and on Amazon, all that shit is from China. It's funny. It's so funny and ironic. It's funny. But again, if it's an intelligent argument and you make a video on it, or you want a video chat and have an intelligent conversation, I'm more than willing. But if you want to do all that rah, 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 woo, woo, woo shit and just think because you talking loudest, that means you right, I'm not interested in that. If you want to have an intelligent conversation, I'm with that. I have no problem with that. Other than that, keep trolling, man. I hope you're having fun, because it's a lot of comments. I don't read them. And some people, they leave the same comment. They'll go find me on YouTube, and then they can't find me on Facebook because my Facebook is private, which that's why I made it private years ago, because I was getting too many haters is what I call them. And I very rarely address you haters. But haters and trolls, y'all all in the same bunch to me. Okay? So, and they'll find me on YouTube and they go find me on Instagram or another, on some, somebody found me on my Tumblr site, and I don't even use Tumblr no more. I haven't been active on Tumblr in years. I don't even check it no more, but I'll get the notifications every time somebody leave me a comment. I still get those. So it's funny to me. It's very funny to me. Or they'll try to find me on one of my other pages, like my photography page or my Flickr page or my poetry page. And they're leaving comments from, the same comment on YouTube. They're leaving it on my poetry page under a poem. I'm like, what does the poem have to do with what I left on YouTube? They're two different subjects. Like, what are you talking? It's just funny, man. Like, I don't have enough followers. Like, you're not going to get no notoriety for yourself by trolling me. And they just wait for me to post videos. I guess they get notifications. They click the little bell on YouTube. So when I post a video, they get notified. Or maybe they just come back and check it randomly. Like, I don't know what they do. It's funny to me. Why would you want to follow somebody you don't like? And you don't like what they're saying? Why? I don't understand that. It's like you just running around looking for people to argue with. You're looking for people with a different point of view of whatever, just so you can argue with them. It doesn't make you look smart. I had debate class in high school. Hell, I had debate class in junior high school, and college. One side presents an argument, the other side presents their argument, then somebody wins the argument. And that's the end of it. But this endless arguing and endless debating, even when you lose, you're just going to keep arguing. That's stupid. And that's what's wrong with politics. So if you're not looking to learn nothing or even have the mindset to think, hey, maybe I did get something wrong, I could learn something. I do that all the time. I'm willing, hey, I could be wrong. That's always a possibility. But you get people who are hell bent, you trolls are hell bent on your perspective. So what are you arguing? You believe what you want to believe. Just live your life. Why you got so much time to follow Van Johnson? Why? It's beyond me. It's beyond me. But that's all I got to say. I ain't even looking for no responses to this video. Just listen. I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get some on here or YouTube or somewhere. I'm sure I'm going to get some, but I hope it don't hurt your feelings. I don't give a fuck what you trolls think. I don't care at all. I'll never see you. The odds are that I'll never see you in person. And like I always say, we know, you know, and I know deep down, the conversation would be different if we was in person. See, my conversation never changes. No matter who I'm in front of, who I'm talking to, I talk the same way. And I believe I don't cater my conversation to the audience. I am who I am. I'm comfortable with me. I suggest some of y'all get comfortable with your own selves. Follow V.